We've got Brian Howie in to discuss the MeToo movement and how it's impacted the dating world and whether we may never recover in time while we sip on our nightcap, the Classic La Croix-cktail. Tonight on It's Complicated.
You're listening to It's Complicated with your hosts Jennifer Golden and Lauren Leonelli, coming to you live from the AfterBuzz TV studios in Los Angeles, California.
Hello, Master Daters. Welcome back for an all-new episode of It's Complicated.
The struggle is real when you're dating in the city.
I am Jen.
And I am not Jen.
Every time it's so exciting.
I'm Lauren. It's better when I'm not Jen.
Oh, boy, guys.
Okay, and today it is also a better day because we are discussing how the Me Too movement has affected dating and how we may never recover in time. We have a guest that's going to, help us debate and discuss that in time for what? I don't know yet.
No, I don't know.
Before
the end of the world?
The end of the world, which might be happening soon because it's like 1,000,000 degrees out and something's wrong.
And all the bad things are happening, but we can get to that on a different show because we just talk about love and shit here.
And that's not bad.
No, never hurts you. You've seen Brian on our show before, guys, exactly 1 year ago to be exact, by like 2 days.
Legit?
It was, today is what, the 22nd? He was on our show August 24th, 2017.
Whoa! Mm-hmm. We did not do that on purpose. That is serendipity.
At its finest.
Yeah.
Just like love. But anywho, so here's a little refresher about Brian. He's the host and creator of America's #1 dating. He is also America's #1 dating enthusiast.
Yeah.
Brian is an award-winning director, producer, and the author of How to Find Love in 60 Seconds.
That's right. And Brian's podcast, The Great Love Debate, is based on the national touring series of live shows hosted by Brian. And he is joined in studio weekly with celebrity guests, the most dynamic voices in love and dating and relationships.
And us sometimes.
And us. And you guys can listen in as, Brian and his panel of fantastical people raise questions and answers about dating and relationships. And they answer or try to answer the age-old question, why is everyone still single? Why?
Well, we're not, so that's cool.
No, we're not. But
well, we
a
can
lot
also
of
tell you
people
why
are.
we're not.
Yeah, and that too. And
So
Brian
we have
probably can tell you why. I bet you he knows. He'll say why you're not single anymore and why I'm not single anymore because he knew us before, and he'll be spot on.
Oh yeah, well
He'll be like,
we'll have to ask him that.
He is like a dating Yoda. He looks at you and he's like da 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 da, and you're like, oh,
okay,
yeah, that was it.
That is so.
That's why. I don't know why I'm not single anymore. Brian knows though.
I also know.
Yeah.
But anywho.
Oh, great.
But guys, now you can also listen to Brian discuss other fun things on his podcast, The Great Food Feud. And he is, known as America's most prominent provocateur. So he brings it to you fresh and feisty each week on the podcast for the passionate palate. And
that's cute.
You'll find out about must-have meals, peculiar preferences, strong opinions, celebrities and personalities and industry food people will talk about the best of the best and the worst and preferences and all kinds of fun things.
A lot of those things go along with like dating and finding love, just put into food.
Yeah.
And then also food
left on meat.
And food is also like a thing that you do when you're dating.
Exactly.
Sex, food, sex.
More food.
Going to dinners, cooking for each other.
Alcohol.
Food, sex.
Food, sex. That's
those
the things.
And speaking of pairing things with things and food and alcohol, our nightcap tonight, before we get into all of this talk about Me Too and shit, we are drinking our Classic La Croix-cktail.
Mm-hmm. It's the house drink.
It's the house drink. This time we're doing pamplemousse, the only La Croix flavor that is not just called what it is. It's the French grapefruit. And our Spa Girl Spa Martini vodka because it's got cucumber in there and it tastes amazing.
Mm-hmm. And so basically we're having a salad.
We're having a salad, and
which is a food.
We like this drink over and over again, just like we like Brian to be on our show over and over again. It never gets old, and drinking a few of these will make you enthusiastic about dating too. So that's why we're drinking it in honor of Brian.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Brian.
Okay.
So we're going to keep it complicated as we do every week, and I'm going to tell you guys that the dad. The one that I'm dating, not my actual one, because no. So he had his daughter all weekend, and so that basically was like my weekend off from being in a relationship. Not really like a hall pass in that way, but I made sure I saw all the people
Yeah.
I mean, it was stacked with so many family and friend people and wine. I'm still hungover, so I'm going to drink my drink right now.
Hair
as
of the
my
dog.
3 days later, hair of the dog, because I still am suffering because I'm in my 30s and wine hurts.
It does. Wine really does hurt. Vodka is much easier. I had a very lazy weekend of eating shitty food and watching TV, and I rode bird scooters and saw Crazy Rich Asians.
How was that?
It's cute. It's like a Disney movie, but it's cute though.
She's
It's
like the Mulan of
yeah. I mean, it's
romantic
just very
comedies?
like Disney, but it's cute though. I mean, see it for sure. It's very pretty.
Oh,
And my boyfriend is going to Burning Man, so there's that. I'm like, what the fuck? Really?
over Labor Day weekend, right? Or is it a whole week?
Yeah, no. Well, he's like leaving after this on Monday, so after this weekend.
What do you do there in the sand for
I don't
a whole
fucking
week?
know. Like, I can't. It's just not my jam. I get that there's like things there that are probably cool. I wouldn't be totally against it. There's parts of it that I know I'd be like, ugh. But
Like the outside
I
part?
could go for like 2 days or something, and then I'd probably be like, gotta go. That's enough. I just like
Who's he going with?
Noel, our friend, and like a group of people that I don't know, and that's fine. I'm just like, it's weird. It's whatever.
Okay. Well,
He keeps asking me for costume items. Like, can I wear one of your furs? I was like, fuck no, you cannot wear one of my furs.
listen, anything that's got costumes as adults makes me really concerned.
Yeah, things from Amazon keep coming in the mail, like bee striped socks and wings and weird glass. I'm like, you're 41.
I don't understand.
I'm
it.
like trying to be supportive, but let's be real.
Okay, it's an experience. Okay, my guy.
I want him to
was
have the
part of-
experience. I want
mine
him to
was
have
part
fun.
of like some flower community, or no, it's called the rainbow community. I don't know. Some
What?
people that like traveled and did weird, I don't know, camping things. And
Like
wackiness ensued or something. So he told me, and I'm like, "Are you sure? I feel like you're a little like too."
he's more square. He seems,
yeah,
but maybe.
apparently not. So
Hey, let it out.
he did, and I was like, well, "Who am I dating?"
Hopefully, there were no incidents that gonna come back and bite him like MeToo style.
No. He didn't really like engage that much. It was more like I was disconnected for a week and it was camping and he's still trying to get me to go camping. I'm like, I think you have a daughter for that. I luckily don't have to go to
My
everything
God.
that you
Oh my
do.
God.
Choices.
Well, maybe he'll invite you one day and you'll go.
Please don't.
All right. Well, we're going to invite our guest in because we need to get to crack in on some other things like Me Too. So fun. No, but we really do want to debate this. So, Brian Howie, thank you for being here.
Hi.
Yes. I can't believe
Hi.
it's been a year. I mean, we've seen you since, but like,
Since I've been on here,
Yeah.
did you know that?
Came to your show.
I know that you have not been on either of my podcasts in a long, long time. Either of you on either podcast.
We're playing hard to get.
Yes.
Clearly, so I had to come back to the valley.
Exactly. Also,
And it
though,
worked.
We did go to your Great Love debate, though, when you had Ben Higgins on
Yeah.
and some other people.
Brandy
Brandy
Glanville.
Yeah, her.
Glanville.
Yeah.
So tall. I still can't understand how tall she
She's
is.
very tall. She was very feisty.
Oh my God, she was funny.
That was fun.
Yeah,
Totes.
very fun.
She freaked out Ben.
Oh, yeah, she freaked out a lot of people, I think.
I think she freaked out some
But
people.
I mean, whatever. I don't think she really cares about
No.
that, does she?
She does not.
no, drinking and dating is.
I
her
wonder
thing.
if she has any Me Too stories. Bet you she does.
Oh my god, I'm surprised nothing's come out yet. Or maybe she's the
Ooh,
person
maybe
that is initiating.
I did her podcast the day after we did that show.
Yeah.
And she was like, I have to just keep everything in my next book. I'm just going to name all the names. So
I guarantee
she
she
has
has
the
tons of stories. Yeah.
She's on both sides of the story.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she's got some chutzpah behind her. Do you know what that is?
She
yes,
does.
I do.
Oh, good.
Thank you for the Jewishness of that. Brian, you always ask people on Great Love Debate podcast question, like, isn't it like, what was your worst date ever or something? Isn't
Best
that
or worst?
best or worst or something?
Worst date or first date?
Yeah, that.
Oh, worst date or first date. We have a couple like rapid fire questions that we just want to like.
Are we going to start with the rapid fire?
I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, does size matter?
Yeah.
Not to me.
It might. What about the size of a vagina
Or boobs?
or an ass?
I think we're happy to be there, honestly. I don't think we're that particular. It's the old there's no bad pizza line.
Some people would disagree
You know,
with that.
Some people would. You're asking
on
me.
your podcast. People would disagree with that. There's bad pizza thing.
On my other podcast.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe. I don't know.
You're an equal opportunity employer.
I don't think there's such a thing.
Okay. Fine.
Jen Aniston or Angelina Jolie?
Jen Aniston, but they're closer on the crazy scale than you would think.
Okay. All right. I mean,
I like that that's what you picked out of it, because you could have gone Angelina because she's super hot and badass and kind of scary, and like Jennifer
like just
Aniston's
the
more
foster,
like America's sweetheart.
Well,
but you picked the crazy element.
I like girls that are what I call a blue lobster.
what's
And
rare?
a blue lobster, it's an old casting term. It's an old casting term from back in the days.
Look at you on our
One
casting
out of
couch.
every 20,000 lobsters or something is born blue.
No.
Yeah. So a blue lobster, what I call it, is a girl, a woman. Can I say girl here?
You can
I
say
got in
whatever.
trouble in New York.
Oh, please.
Is one who can be, depending on her mood or what she's trying to do, she can be cute or pretty or hot.
Oh.
And a lot are 2 out of 3. Very few are all 3. Jennifer Aniston is all 3.
Okay.
Angelina Jolie has no cute in her.
Yes, totally true.
No cute in her.
Totally true.
Not even
Right.
when she was a kid, she wasn't cute. She
No,
was like
she
kind of
always-
creepy.
she
Right.
looked-
So a lot of
yeah.
women have 2 out of 3, and Angelina does not fall into that category.
Okay.
Splitting the check on the first date. Yes or no?
Absolutely. This is not even like, it is
Okay.
absolutely no. The men do not want to have you offer to pay. If you offer to pay, it tells him one of 3 things, none good. It either says, this is not a date, or I don't want to owe you anything, or we're not doing this again. So your profuse, enthusiastic thank you goes so much farther than your $60 or your half-assed offer.
Right.
Thank him. Do not offer.
But okay, so
Okay, so let's just get right into this Me Too thing.
So, okay, with the whole thing about like gender roles changing and everyone's so PC and
I mean, just right now, Brian's
Yeah.
like, can I say girl?
right, like you're
Because
scared.
I said it in New York, and a woman stood up and she's like, do you see how derogatory you are to women?
Why?
You called us girls. And I said,
What's
does
wrong with-
anybody here mind me calling you girls? And everybody, all the women were like, no.
No.
And I go, you don't even understand your own gender. A lot of women think because I'm a woman, I understand women. And I always say, you understand you.
Yeah.
Same with me. I wrote my book thinking that I understood men. All I understood was me.
Yeah.
I don't understand men
Right.
because I don't care about men.
Right. I also think that what is the problem with saying girl? It's like when people get weirded out about describing someone,
Say it to
like
somebody.
a black guy, and they're like, that black guy over there. I'm like, why the fuck are you whispering?
Black guy,
What?
I know.
What is it's the description
Say
of the
girl
person?
to some 24-year-old. She will flip out.
I
on you.
just
I
don't
just don't understand why. Okay, like, is it insulting to be a girl? Is it because you feel like it's like a younger qualification, or that you don't have your shit together and that you're not like?
But so what?
But if you call me a woman, I might actually also be offended and be like, "Do you think I'm old?"
I ask this question
Yeah.
a lot at our Great Love Debate shows. How many prefer girl? How many prefer women? How many prefer lady? How many prefer? It's like a third either way. And so that's part of the problem with this whole, you want to talk about the problem with the Me Too. The Me Too problem when it comes to dating, and again, it's a good thing. We should have these conversations, whatever. But this illusion that I hear all the time, the women have never been more united and it's going to change. The women have never been more divided.
I agree.
It is not even close. Half of the women are like, damn the consequences. I've been waiting to have this conversation for 20 years. Let's blow the whole thing up. And they're probably right. And half the women are like, shut the fuck up. You're going to scare off the rest of the guys. And the women are by no means on the same page. The second problem is, I think now that the men have a really pretty clear idea of what you do not like or what you do not want us to do.
No,
I think
they still
do.
ask on dates. How are these dating apps treating you? And I want to punch them
Okay,
all
but
in the
that's
I know, but that's
like-
not a man. That's not,
Fine.
no, but that's not behavioral. That's not
Yeah,
like
they're
as
not
far
going to
as-
step out of
just-
line because they're scared of being
think
arrested.
they might not always do the right thing, but I think they're aware of what is right.
Yeah.
They don't have any clue of what you do want us to do because you do not know what you want us to do. And
Agreed.
I've spent a lot of time in the last 6 months on our Great Love Debate shows saying, a guy, just an opening thing on Tinder or Bumble, his opening line.
Yeah.
What would you like him to say that you're going to probably respond to it no matter what? And the women have got nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Nothing.
No one in there is like, you know what works?
But also,
But it might work for her. But
that's just her,
Some woman
though.
the other day in Seattle, she raised her hand. She goes, I would like him to, when he first starts talking to me, to make some kind of statement that he understands the problem of the safety of women.
oh my
So
God.
I said, can he just text you, no means no, and go from there? And she goes, no, that's boring. And that's exactly my point. I'm like, what would you like us to do? So I ask the women this all the time. We can't ask you out at work. We can't necessarily even walk up to you, you know, in Starbucks. We cannot pick you up at your house. We can't do all these things. Tell us what you'd like us to do, and I believe the men will do it. But the women haven't given that nearly as much thought of what you do not want us to do.
I think that the problem is because women don't, it's like you're focusing on, like you're saying, the negative or what you don't want. And I think then they're just regurgitating shit. And when it comes down to it, like you have to be open to things that come your way that you think you might not want. I mean, within the realm of like moralistic things, but in order to date and to put yourself out there, you have to keep an open mind. And so I think somewhere there's this weird argument in your mind, like, I need to be open to a certain type of guy that I think I might not like, a height or a way a guy looks or a certain job or a family or a religion or whatever. And then I also need to like be clear about what I want at the same time. And so they are regurgitating this like, I am woman, hear me roar. I'm all part of the same club. Like, women are strong. I'm a boss bitch. And then they're also like still trying to figure out as they go because they don't know what's going to be presented to them. Like, I'm dating a guy that I wouldn't have typically thought that I would be dating necessarily, but I was open to it. Yeah.
You're welcome, Jen.
But I wasn't.
I mean, he's just missing normal, like, amount of hair.
He's
got
a little
hair.
older than you thought.
No, I've always liked older guys my whole life. I think we can even play back with tape.
I think we need
I
to
will
dig up
say
the
this.
tape.
When Jen is like, I need a guy to be 6 foot plus or whatever. Her man is not short by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not that like fucking uber tall person.
No, but what is he? 5'11"? He's pretty tall.
I
look up.
She's 5'2". So
When I
I'm
met
5'4".
Jen, all she wanted was a good night's sleep and a puppy.
I got
And a look
that.
at her. And now she moved up to a boyfriend.
And now
Why
I have
is-
not good sleep.
why is Jen
And 2 puppies.
Why is Jen not single anymore?
Because Jen, I believe, moved her comfort zone just a hair.
I agree.
That way, and a lot more people were in that pool.
Oh my God, it opened up to like the damn gates.
It did.
Opened.
Jen was always, and a lot of women do this, they were treating their dating approach like fly fishing, like that one or that one. You got to cast the big net.
Yeah.
You got to reel them in. You're going to get some three-eyed fish. You're going to get some things. But there's a lot more chance to have a good catch in there than just saying, like, that one, that one,
Yeah,
that one.
true.
You know? And she expanded it just enough.
Great.
Just enough.
Why am I not still single?
I think that you were, you know, I've studied you guys a long time at the scientific level.
It's true.
You were more
like
open
animals in
to
captivity.
it than Jen was, and you were a little frustrated with like the guys you were dating, and you were more of the fuck it, I'll give this a shot thing.
Yeah,
earlier.
open in a different way than Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I think that's accurate as well. I also
She had to open up her type. You had to open up your heart.
I gotta say
Yeah.
though, my guy though is my type, like 1,000,000%.
Yeah,
But
he's-
if I presented to him 3 years ago, you wouldn't have gone.
No
No,
out with it.
way.
because I probably would have been like, he needs to have brown hair
And he's
and
got a
no
kid.
kid.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
everything else about him, he happens to be Jewish. He's tall. He's attractive. He's in like good shape. We like the same things. He's got a great job.
You'd be surprised at how I see this all the time. A lot of
You're
people
welcome.
walk around with this, well, I just haven't met the right person yet, or something like that. And then one day I bumped into it, and I'm like, no, your perspective changed.
Yes.
Like if you met that same person 5 years ago or 10 years ago, like you just weren't ready to recognize them, but that person may have been around either that literal person or somebody in a different form.
Something like it, yeah.
And you didn't. It's about what you were willing to recognize and act on and not dismiss and all those kind of things. And that's
So then you're-
that's what it is more than the magical, there's my soulmate at Costco.
So then do you subscribe to the it's a timing thing?
I subscribe to it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
I actually also think it's a timing thing because I had a feeling inside. I was like, I think I'm going to be a second wife. I have this feeling because I don't relate to guys my like own age-ish, like that range. And I think the guy that is older, he has to have been married because otherwise, what has he been doing to be that age?
Yeah.
And like, then we probably won't relate because he might be a man child and he won't have like similar tastes and like all of that. So I was like, he has to be divorced because that's the only thing that will account for his age.
You were reasoning with like what the situation would be.
Yeah, I was like, I just felt like that made more sense, and I was like, I'm all for being a second wife because like whatever she did to him is
again,
cool. I am going to come in and
5 years
save the
ago,
day.
you wouldn't want any part of that.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the idea of it would have been, you wouldn't have been ready to be open to the idea of it because you might not have even have thought it sounded all that appealing when just on paper, but you're more open to the idea of what's coming in and what someone can bring. And you're also older and you know what you want.
Well, I went and found myself somebody that was divorced not too long ago. I mean, long enough where it's healthy for us to be dating, but like not that long ago. So I do feel like timing aligned because some things happened in both of our personal lives where then we both found each other on an app. And he's like, I've actually seen you on this app before, but I felt like you were too young. But for whatever reason, I saw you the second time. I was like, no, I want to go out with this girl.
There's a compliment in there somewhere.
Totally, I was too young.
You aged a little bit.
Well,
you look tired, and that seemed more my age.
I said that to
my
him.
God.
Well,
actually.
I mean, I say lots of things, but two of my favorite sort of bon mots. Can we say that here?
Sure.
Are it's not that you haven't met the right person yet; it's that you haven't been the right person yet.
Totally. It makes a lot of sense.
That applies to everybody.
Because then you take accountability for your actions, like not like
You
people that are like,
Is
there's
it
no one
better
in
to
this
take
city
than
that I can date.
wander the earth and been like, I hope this person surfaces. You have to make a physical change, a mindset change, sometimes a geographical change. You have to shake up your snow globe.
Totally.
The other thing that I say a lot, and you've heard me say this on here a lot, is that the women look for red flags and the men look for green lights.
Yeah.
And that is part of the Me Too.
That is- okay, let's talk about that, yeah.
In this day and age, all the time. You can't be too careful in this day and age. In this day and age, they're psychos. If you think the men now are more dangerous now than in 1974, you're fucking crazy. There were psychos all over the place.
Ted Bundy was alive and kicking
So
back in that era.
Women
everyone.
are like, well, you know the guy better now when you go out with him. And I'm like,
How?
No. No, you don't know the guy as well now when you go out with him because you met him online. I go, you know what the screening process was 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Whether or not he had a pen and a napkin at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that guy had to pick you up.
Totally.
Had to.
Yeah, there was no Uber.
Oh, no.
There's no Uber.
Totally.
You're like, take me on a proper date. You have to pick me up.
And then you die and you're buried in his
you
trunk.
wouldn't die. The real psycho
Yes.
will hide it
Yeah.
for 3 dates or 6 months or whatever you see on Lifetime movies.
And
But
also, it's like you could get, shot in a Trader Joe's. Like, I mean,
you could, but the mindset of, I need to be able to get out of here. I need to be able to call my friend, and that's all taking safety, but it's taking it a little too far. That you are going into the date with the mindset of, not only is it not going to get work out, but he's a psycho.
Well,
and men are not more psycho now.
and it's all
Not
part of
more
the,
than before,
not
but
more than
we're just
before.
addressing that
It's
they
all,
are.
and it's all part of
Some
owning.
are.
No,
Yeah.
it's all part of taking control of your life too. Like, don't be.
But the real
You
psycho
have-
can hide it.
The real psycho can hide it, and you also have control. You're part of the situation as well, and there are things you can do to be more vigilant or safe. You're not at the mercy of someone else. You're not at the mercy of like, oh, I hope I find the right guy, or I hope I don't get raped tonight. I'm not making a joke about that. I'm just saying, like, sometimes shit happens, and sometimes you do just bump into the right guy, or sometimes something bad will happen to you. But for the most part, you have a little more control.
You do
sometimes.
But what the last 6 months or the last 9 months now have done is a lot of women are validated, and rightly so, in their mindset of like, men have been mistreating me and men are assholes, and they're dropping out. And there's a big percentage of the men, and they're just like, fuck it, the virtual porn is here, and I don't need the shit. I don't need to get. It used to be like I might get rejected, but now it's like I might get fired and called a pervert.
Totally.
And they
Totally.
don't
The
need it.
stakes
So
are
the
higher.
dating pool on both sides has shrunk a lot.
Because people just aren't doing it now.
Well, they're
People are like,
afraid.
I don't need it.
So what are they doing to fulfill that need? Because people can't just be like isolate
Well,
themselves.
like you
Dogs,
said-
wine, virtual porn.
Right, so-
like it is what it is. It's like I'm good enough that it's not worth.
Yeah.
The men are like, it's not worth this this exposure
Sure.
on a lot of levels, and the women are like, I've heard it all the time. I'm right. These guys do suck. Men are assholes. Men are, and it gets, you hear it enough that everybody, the Me Too thing, again, wonderful, but throwing everything in one big pot does not make the ingredients stronger. It dilutes them.
Yeah.
However, though,
everybody's
isn't there a positive?
That's Me Too. It's a positive that people are having conversations.
I think, okay,
Yeah.
here's where I'll say there's a positive being from like the dating pool recently. That I do have technology. I can Uber wherever I want to go. So like I have just freedom to make my own choices. It's more just like a matter of convenience. It's not
You
like
had your own freedom 10 years ago. 20
sure,
years
but
ago.
like it's even easier now. Like you don't have to go outside and have cash for a taxi, or like you don't expect somebody to pick you up. You're both sort of coming in from like equal
Things are
ground.
faster. Things are faster.
And so like I just feel like it's easier and you just feel a little bit more secure in that regard. I don't have to call my parents. I don't live at home with them. I don't have to call cab, whatever. So I just feel like you're coming in already with sort of like a sense of you each are on the same playing field. However, I do think it is also nice that people are now on their best behavior, because it does curb, like it brings it back to like what, the 50s when people like pinned you and like showed a little bit of respect and like courted you. Like,
Well, they might
not be doing that now, but I do think that they are sort of watching what they say and do. Like they're not as crass or they're not as vulgar because of that. Like, not that people should be fearful, but it is giving people again some moral compass.
Yeah, but
There's still the problem, and it is a problem, and we can't dismiss it, that if Channing Tatum does one thing and some other guy does another thing, it's how that's going to be interpreted, because the difference between creepy and a compliment is who's giving it. And the guy has no idea how you feel about him, because he's like, I heard she wanted some guy to just
Chase her.
Kiss her in the rain.
Yeah.
And the other guy, that guy might get the cops called on him.
Totally.
And so the men are like, I don't know which guy I am in her opinion.
Eyes, yes.
So it's not, the juice is not worth the squeeze anymore.
Yeah, but aren't there social cues and sort of interaction? Like, if a guy kissed me in the rain, but I don't like him, and he pushed me against a wall and just kissed me, I'd be like,
we did, but I don't like him. He doesn't know. So we do this.
Why doesn't he know?
We did this at our show in New York.
But why doesn't he know?
And Bravo shot this, so you can see it on TV. And I asked a bunch of women and said, give me a sign that you like the guy and that it was okay for him to kiss you spontaneously. You should have seen some of this shit. It was everything from just like women were like staring, and I go, guys, would you pick up on that? And they're like, no. And then some woman like jumped on the guy's leg and humped him. I'm like, that's probably too much. These social cues are so subjective.
Yeah, they are.
And they're at a level only dogs can hear.
But then and I agree to that, but then also you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like, let's all understand that that's what's happening. And if a guy does kiss you, spontaneously, there is a line. So if you're like, oh my God, no, he needs to back away, obviously, and like, oh, I'm sorry or whatever. But like, you then can't fucking blame the dude for that when you're the girl that's on the phone to your girlfriends 5 minutes before going, if he doesn't text me, I'm never talking to him again, or he has to chase me, or he has to do these things. Like, then it's like, what do you want?
The women over the last 10 years, again, to their credit, have gotten a little harder, and the men have gotten a little softer. So what the last 9 months
softer.
What last 9 months has done has taken a pool of already, on some level, too passive men and make them hesitate one extra beat on everything they do.
Sure.
And that's where the chemistry happens, and that one extra beat, that second, that spark. And so that's really gone away. Up until a year ago, people are like, are you hopeful? Are you optimistic about men and women and dating? And I would come on this show, and I'd come on every show and be like, yes, and I think it's better.
And now you're not?
Not at all.
Okay, so why do you think then, so it's affecting the fact that both people are gun shy for their own reasons. Both sides of the equation are gun shy. Women are like, this doesn't sound appealing to me because I don't want to be harassed and I'm not treated correctly. And men are like, I don't want to be looked at as the devil and it's not worth it.
Right.
Both of them are just like, it's not appealing. The sheen has been removed.
Right.
Why now? So now everyone's just going to be isolated. What do you think the outcome is 2 years from now? Like, nobody's getting married, marriage rates drop, like dating apps disappear.
Dating apps will become more precise. Dating apps will become less about love and more about need. And so 5 years ago, people are like, Tinder's a hookup app and Bumble and everything. And then dating apps really do still fulfill a good purpose. You get out of it what you put into it. People are wanting to get less out of it. People now are like, I need 10 swipes before I go to bed to feel good about
Tinder
myself.
has Tinder U now. Did you know that?
What's that?
It's Tinder University, and you can only log on through Tinder if you have a regular account. Then Tinder U is Tinder University. You have to have a college email address. And you can toggle back and forth between regular Tinder and Tinder U, but it's like going with what you're saying.
Tinder networking business. Yeah.
No, but I think it actually would make apps more specific, like, because then people will stay in their own lane. Like, the people that are more into the like
People don't
sexual
know.
harassment
That's my point.
might stay on their own app.
People don't know their lane. So the more they're like,
Yeah.
this is what I perceive I need, want, can take, can tolerate, can do, that really is going to so narrow everybody's pool that it's really not a good shot. The first time I thought of this, we had Dr. Drew do Great Love Debate, and he's the one who said that the coming storm that is the virtual porn is that the 14-year-old kid that is in school now, by the time he gets to 18, he's going to put on a helmet. Somebody who looks just like Blake Lively is going to tell him he's awesome and give him a reasonably satisfying sexual experience. That guy is never going to ask a girl out. And you can't tell him that it's better. It is, but he doesn't know the difference.
Right.
So it's combo of video games that they love
And what you're used
and they
to.
feel they can win at, and nudity. So if you combine those two,
Yeah.
that a whole lot. We do shows in, generously call some socially awkward places like San Jose and Seattle and all these kind of places. These guys are terrified. We do the show in New York, and the guy's like, "Give me the microphone. I'm going to get laid tonight." We do the show in Seattle. Guys like, "If I'm on the microphone, I'm going to get laughed at tonight. I don't need it. I'm going to go home."
But this goes back to your other thing that you used to talk about like a couple years back where like it's geographical. Dating is geographical. Like
Yeah.
Well, then how can you not blame the city? Like when people are like, you shouldn't blame the city, it's you. But the cities
Well,
are very different.
Cities have different sort of feels to them and
Yeah.
and
And
routines
reasons
to them
why
and
people are there.
and demographics and everything. I mean, you cannot compare a city's dating where it is 90 degrees and sunny like Phoenix all the time to someplace where it's rainy all the time like Portland. Like, it's a different social scene. We named Denver, Colorado the worst city in America in which to date last year
Why though?
yeah.
because the men just want to go fucking hiking. And the women are like, if we wanted to go hiking, they should serve wine on top of the mountain. Like, we don't
Yeah,
want to go hiking. So
I
when I
agree.
do the shows there, and we do them a lot, I say, everybody here, let's just make a pact that whatever you do on a date has to be inside for the next 6 months. And that spread all over the city. Like, it became big news, and people are literally doing that, and it's getting
great.
a little bit better because the women want that fit. I don't want to be chasing you up a mountain.
Yeah.
if
No
I'm a
one
girl.
feels sexy doing that, especially on a first date.
But
Like,
it goes
they
back to
don't.
like different ideas and perspectives of what's fun. Men and women are different, and we have to celebrate the differences instead of throwing everything into a pot and muddling up the ingredients and the
but a
flavors.
guy looks like a guy looks like a guy. Like, it doesn't matter what scenario he's in. His hair is the same. It's not like a girl has to put on makeup and she looks stupid if she hikes with makeup, and her hair might be up because it's hot or
A guy
whatever
is
it is.
not a guy. Not a guy. A guy in Portland is showing up on your date with a big bushy beard and a flannel shirt. A guy in Nashville showing up with a visor on and a golf shirt.
Sure, but
it
I mean
is
in
that-
hiking. In
that
hiking.
but it matters in terms of presentation, of mindset of the guy. And the women do certain things, but the guy, they're looking at like, guy's a guy. What you physically find appealing or attractive is different city to city.
But if
Oh, of
you,
course.
yeah, for sure. And the reason that people are drawn to a city, like a lot of, techie people are drawn to San Francisco because that's where the jobs are and that's a certain type of person. And then it creates a certain type of atmosphere and whatever. But if you fixed a little bit the problem in Denver with
Fixed Atlanta too.
Okay.
How did you fix Atlanta?
Well, the first thing we did was to debunk, and we did a lot of media on this, debunk the theory that it was, or the myth that it was 6-to-1 women to men,
Okay.
which was literally like, it was in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that somebody said it. People like Patty Stanger say stuff like that. It's 50-50 in every single
And if you go
city
into
in
it with
America.
that, yeah, and if you,
And so
yeah.
the women's mindset
Yeah.
was, it's too hard. There aren't enough good ones. What chance do I have? So they were not even bothering because they'd been sort of brainwashed into believing that the odds were against them.
Right.
Wait, but in San Francisco, or not San Francisco, like more like Palo Alto area, aren't there more men than women?
I don't know.
It's imperceptible.
But
There's more men than women in Los Angeles. It's more men than women. It's imperceptible, though. In every city in America, between 20 and 65, when the men start to die off, it's like 50.2 to 49.8.
Yeah, it's like not enough
now
of
the
a
myth,
difference.
like my friend John Berger, who wrote this Datanomics book,
he's been on our show.
he says that there's more men, but those more men are college educated.
Right.
So that in the conversation, that tends to get left out, and so women have to be like, and what John also says is, maybe I want a mixed collar relationship, something like that.
Right.
Like, that's the problem with a lot of the guys in Silicon Valley is they're successful, they made money, and they feel entitled to a girl now.
Sure.
They were told if I made $1 million, I could get a girl.
Yeah. And now they're...
That's Los Angeles. That's not San Jose.
It's very bizarre. I mean, listen, I'm super attracted to a smart person. In fact, on Bachelor in Paradise, one of the guys is a developer coder person, and he's not by any means like the person you would think is super hot, but he's killing it on Bachelor in Paradise. I think because everyone's so sick of the like douchebags on that show that they're going after the one really smart guy. But this brings us to going back to paying for the check. Now, with these gender roles changing, like there are also female developers. There's female badass boss bitch leaders in their industry, whatever they are. And then there are these guys. Now, because of the gender roles, forget Me Too, because of the gender roles, isn't that already the first layer of like confusion? Because you'll go on a date with somebody and like now guys are like, well, like guys were supposed to pay in the past, but now women also make a lot of money, or this person is successful.
Just because socially we have changed, physiologically, we have not changed. That might take 1,000 years to literally change. So he still has that old school provider, protector, all that kind. That's still a real thing.
Yeah, but what if he wants the girl to like offer because now he's this guy and he's like, women can pay too.
It's one of the rare
That's
times
a blue lobster.
in early dating that he can still be the boy. Okay? Can't pick
Not
you up
the
anymore.
man.
Can
See?
still, you know what I mean? Still do that. So for the first 3 dates, let him pay for everything. After the third date, start paying for stuff before 6 p.m. Pay for breakfast, buy some movie tickets, and then it will slowly balance out so he doesn't think you're a gold digger over it. It will balance out as your relationship develops. But early on, first 3 dates, thank you, I would love to do this again. Thank you, I like you so much.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about that because I asked the guys, do you want her to pay? They do not.
Yeah.
They don't want you to reach.
I mean,
they don't want any of that.
Yeah.
I've heard mixed reviews on that, like where if a girl doesn't even offer, it's like she's entitled, or
not if she gives the thank you. And you also are looking at Los Angeles. I've been 84 cities across North America, so I hear from everything. The guy will forget whether you offered or not offered if he believes that you were appreciative of it.
Yeah.
And say, I would like to do it again.
Yeah.
What if you don't want to do it again?
Well,
so
then
then you offer to
offer.
pay?
Sure.
Because that's fair, because you're like, well...
Then offer to pay.
But that's and that goes back to your point. When you offer to pay or when things like that happen, you're sending a signal. I think that I agree to that. I think that, you know, if you're the type of person who has a very strong belief, like I think things should be equal and it's not because I don't respect you and this is my belief and I'm trying to find someone who matches my set of beliefs and we should split everything, whatever, then fucking say it out
you should
loud.
Start splitting everything once you get into the relationship. But you have a better chance of getting to that point if very, very early on you just let him lead the dance for a little bit.
If that's what you want, if you're very specific and you want this thing, then I think you just say it and find the person that's like very stern about it as well. I think for the most part, most people probably go on that bandwagon where, I mean, I know I would like, I would think a guy would pay, and to me, it's not demeaning.
We did a show. Again, you're not in your 20s anymore. We did a show in San Francisco, and a guy stood up and he said, I stopped holding the door because the women stopped saying thank you. And a woman stood up and said, if you need the thank you to hold the door, don't do it. They're both right.
Yeah.
And they're both wrong.
They're both right and wrong. You're right.
Well, I think as a human being, you should show appreciation.
You should say but it's polite to say thank you.
Right.
But he shouldn't need it to do it.
Yeah. True. You shouldn't only be doing. Yeah.
You know, it's both. That's the way it's muddled now. You can both be right and both be wrong. And, you know, I've been driving this dialogue forward for 5 years.
People are imperfect beings, and they're still learning, and that's why there's a whole area of self-improvement.
What is right for you is not necessarily right for you.
Totally. And that's why this movement is happening, because everyone's up in arms about not like everyone being on the same page or agreeing. And listen, there are things that are generalized, like don't do that, this is wrong, that's not okay. But when it comes down to specifics, that's just a you thing, and you got to communicate that or not. How did you fixed Denver, you fixed Atlanta. How the fuck do we fix this Me Too thing? Because
I don't think it's fixed. The one thing
but what do we do? Because we're not going to be.
I think you need to understand
virtual porn.
I think you need to understand as women that the women are absolutely not all on the same page. And don't give me that you're mansplaining. You're not a woman. You know what you talk about. I've literally talked to tens of thousands of women, and they are wildly different. We think nobody could ever possibly vote for Donald Trump because we live in Los Angeles. Lots of people out there love Donald Trump.
Yeah, but
Okay,
men
so it's
and
very
women.
Miami.
But
Men
you
and
don't
women.
feel that men are not on the same page? Like you think they are versus
Men
women who
never
are not?
say men aren't care about being united. Men are like, fuck the other guys. Here's what I think. I'm on my own.
I mean, it's kind of true.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, men are not this tribal because of maybe
No one
some,
also questions their rights. I mean, unless you're a minority, but
Totally-
they
I
don't
totally-
have that mentality. They've
Yeah.
never had that
Yeah,
struggle.
that's true. I
So
totally agree
strength
with
in
that.
numbers, who cares? They're already succeeding.
But-
They're the white man, unless they're not.
You
Yeah.
know, I believe that there is a larger pool of dateable men in America than has ever existed in the history of this country.
How do we?
There are more men doing the work. There are more men asking questions. There are more men curious. There are more men doing that. But the men used to be shooting at a 10-foot basket. They're shooting at a 12-foot basket now.
Good.
The bullseye to get into your world because you need us less has been raised. So this pool is not worse, not different. They're probably this much better, but the bar's now here. And that's fine,
And
but you need to communicate
the
that.
discrepancy is that we need you less, but we don't want you any less, and that's where it's.
Well, you heard me explain the difference between want and need at my last show, right?
What? We'll explain that again for the people.
I want world peace. I need tater tots.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a different of a passion.
No,
of it.
I know, but
the
I'm just
need is
saying.
the passion.
It creates a discrepancy. It creates the
men wanna feel
unclear feeling about what. Yeah, so it's like, and you can be right in both those things. Like, I maybe need you less because it's not 1950, but I don't want you any less. So how do you then create? That's where I think you're saying
Well, I
the
think
women
you
are
want
unclear.
them less if you can fulfill other needs and it's not bringing a positive situation to your life, which I actually think
that's
this
anything.
will now. I know you said something about like we might run out of time or we're not going to make it in time or recover in time. I actually think this is like one of those moments that's going to shift things to a positive. It's going to at some point make people rise to a different occasion. And I think men might rise to the 12-foot basket and women may start to unite if they must unite or just adjust. I think everyone will adjust. We
Yeah.
all adjusted all the other times. I think we're going to adjust. We're adjusting to this
Different now.
idiotic president we have. And we're
Here's why
trying to fix
it's
it.
different now.
Why?
Because first of all, like I said, you need us less, but you don't even biologically really need us for the babies anymore. And so a lot of stuff that could always be either swept away or explained away or would bring us back to the mothership, that's not happening again anytime soon. So the only answer to this is continued dialogue and to understand that the way you think and the way I think is not necessarily the way everybody thinks.
Yeah.
Well, that's for damn
so
sure.
Yeah.
every relationship, every date is a snowflake. It is like no any. So you have to take the temperature of me and you right now
Yes.
and where we want to go and see what you can do with that.
I agree to that. And you don't want to carry things. I mean, you know, obviously your past experience teach you and give you knowledge to continue to go on with your life. But for the most part, every relationship and even in the micro level, macro level is a dating relationship is its own thing. Carrying luggage and baggage from other shit is never really like, you
Helpful.
kind of want to leave that alone because it is so true.
Get rid of the rearview mirror and
Yeah.
bring the positives forward and keep going.
And
going,
you think that getting us to be able to date again more constructively would be continuing conversating about this topic and trying to understand that everyone's an individual.
I would say change your mindset into what you do like versus what you don't like.
Focus
And
on
we
the
spend
positive.
a lot of,
Right.
if I ask, because I've done this before, where I ask women, tell me what you like in a relationship or what you need in a relationship. And the list of what they don't like is right there. Because
Yeah.
they spend a whole lot more time
Right.
thinking about
Yeah.
it.
It's the opposite
what-
of the secret, in fact, if you focus on the negative.
Right.
Well, no, it is the secret. It's just going to
the
bring that
what
into
you
your life.
like
Right. Yeah.
And be able to express it confidently, playfully, sportingly, both parties. Like if you still treat everything like it's a fun experience, a fun game, whether it's a first date or a fifth date or let's go make a baby, I think you're going to be better off. When you
Yeah.
go into this, like, where's the emergency exit? How do I pull the chute on this thing? What is wrong with this person?
Yeah.
What can go wrong with this relationship? That's never going to work.
Totally. You can't go into that.
So you now probably have been on a bazillion dates in your lifetime, right? Would you say you're an expert dater?
No, I'm not. I have been on less than, I mean, I talk a lot of a good game on terms of like go pick a, I've probably been on a handful of just cold turkey, just met, would you like to go out sometime? I've always sort of eased into the water like somebody I knew or somebody I met through somebody or somebody or whatever. So I always, you know, I'm not the best person to ask about first dates. I'm just not.
But then, so your Great Food Feud, that was not born from all of these dates. You've had to go to different restaurants and try these things.
The Food Feud was born from me saying that a good question to ask on Tinder or Bumble is, what's your favorite condiment?
Yes.
And I think that that will tell a lot of what her answer is, compatibility. And people started to throw around crazy things. And then I was like, ketchup, you seem very low maintenance.
Interesting.
Because you say that. I'm like, if you said like ranch, I'm like, oh, I can dip some things into it. If you said some sort of like aioli, something real funky,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Complicated.
she's going to be a pain in the ass. So I started to
like that French shit.
ask these questions, and then I
Is that
realized
Italian?
that
French.
I'm in the passionate conversation business.
Yeah.
That's what I'm in. That everybody can talk about the love stuff, but everybody will talk about the food stuff.
True.
Everybody thinks they know the best way to eat this, the best place for the tacos, my favorite food and everything, and people will argue
And
it
it brings
to
people
the
together,
death.
yeah.
Totally.
It's the one thing that everybody can literally sit around a dinner table and talk about.
Okay, so
Other than dating and relationships. So now tell everyone before
Where
we
they
wrap
can-
where
yeah.
they can listen to your new podcast, your normal Great Love Debate podcast.
You can listen to the Great Love Debate on all of the platforms. And you can listen to the Great Food Feud on all the platforms. Go to greatlovedebate.com. Go to greatfoodfeud.com. They're all on there.
yeah.
You're everywhere. You really
We're-
are. And
we're
you're
everywhere.
in cities and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Are you on tour currently?
Yeah, this is our last few months of at least the full-time Great Love Debate shows. We've done 329 shows.
Jeez.
Damn.
84 cities for 5 years.
Wow.
So we have about 9 left in sort of our regular tour schedule. Seattle, Denver, Charlotte, Dallas, New York. 1 more in Los Angeles.
Oh,
Get them
hey.
while it's hot, guys.
And that's it. GreatLoveDebate.com.
Love
And
it.
everyone can go to our Amazon store and find your book, How to Find Love in 60 Seconds. And that's amazon.com/shop/complicated show.
Go and find all of the things that you need to be date ready. And you can follow me at Lauren Leonelli on all the social medias.
And you can follow me at Jennifer Golden on all the social medias. And don't forget to tune in next week for another repeat guest, Jake Dupree.
Our favorite merman.
Oh, yeah. He'll be back. And follow us at Complicated Show
That's
on
right.
all the platforms.
We're here every week, and we will see you next week, too.
Love you long time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Yes. Who's Jack on the show?
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.